Welcome back, everyone. I'm Julian Patriotubcar, and bringing his dulcet tones to cast this match is Isaac Azale Cummings, who I should mention is fresh off his stint on the analyst, guys.
Yeah, and I mean, they got you doing interviews. I'm on the analyst desk. What are we doing?
I don't know. It's a topsy-turvy, crazy world. We are going to jump into our second match of the day as Team Liquid will meet up against Echo Fox. Last week, Echo Fox did a complete 180 from their week 1 performance, going 2-0 on the week when expectations were quite low for the reworked roster.
Yeah, they really were, but they won against really some pretty good teams, too. They won against Dignitas, the only loss for FlyQuest as well. They've brought creative picks, Gate playing Camille, Looper on Swain, intelligent draft adaptations, and when plans weren't working out, they didn't just roll over. You know, Froggen made a lot of things happen on TF, and I think one of the biggest things to point out for Echo Fox is last year we talked so much about how they never made plays happen. This year, they were aggressively grouping. They were trying to be proactive, trying to make stuff happen even when behind.
It has been such a strong change, and it comes as such a relief after last year where, to put it lightly, Echo Fox's macro or lack thereof could be quite frustrating.
Yeah, it really was, man. They drew out games needlessly. They were kind of wasting away leads. It really felt like they were playing to not lose. Echo Fox has shown that they want to force ways to capitalize on being ahead. They want to extend leads, and I think that they have aggressive new players who can help them do that. So Liquid, if they want to take this match win, they're really going to need to kind of punish some of the rookies and punish some of the mistakes that can come out of these Echo Fox players. You know, getting Rainover on something he's going to be comfortable against. You know, he hasn't been having the best of seasons, but when you look at it, it's still a league MVP, a super experienced player going up against Cadian, who's in his rookie season, and getting him in on something that he's comfortable on could give him an opportunity to exploit his opponent.
I certainly think it could as well. And I mean, it's certainly been quite tough for Liquid. But before we get into that, we are going to check out our starting lineups. On the blue side, we will actually start with Team Liquid. It's been rough, but we'll see if they can turn it around here. In the top lane, it's Lolo, jungle, Rainover, mid, Golden Glue, bot laner, Piglet, support Matt, and coach David Lim.
Yep, and on the red side today, it's going to be Echo Fox. In the top lane, it's Looper. In the jungle, Acadian. In the mid lane, Froggen. Bot lane, Keith with support Gate. And Coach Tim Kiro.
And we don't want to harp on too much about Liquid, but it's easy to say that it's just been rough. It's been a rough start. It is still a long season. Like, we're not quite at the halfway point here where alarm bells will really be ringing, but...
Oh, those alarm bells are going off.
They are.
The tough part is, it's not just the record, it's the way in which they're losing, right? That's what's really concerning, especially for a team that had such high expectations.
And I think that's the thing for me. Strong players. Rainover was the biggest pickup, arguably, in the NALCS as far as players go, and that's including the import players like Someday that have come over and been part of the league as well. On the other side for Echo Fox, things certainly looking strong. It's just funny to watch them play and see the improvement, but if they can continue that momentum, they should theoretically have a pretty straightforward match here, and the more wins they get, the better, pretty much, because we already joked about it. They've doubled their match wins from last season. It can only get better.
I mean, we have to temper expectations a little bit, because although Echo Fox looked incredible last week, they've had one good-looking week in 2 splits, basically, or a split and change of the LCS. So we have to see if they can continue to pick up wins or to at least look good in their losses. You know, we want to see this team proving themselves and constantly making strides to get better and better.
We'll see what happens here in the early draft. Team Liquid going to ban out Zyra, Twisted Fate, and Poppy on their side. And there's Camille, Rengar for Echo Fox, with LeBlanc likely to come.
The Poppy one is kind of pretty interesting to me. That stands out as a bit of a head-scratcher. I'm not really sure what the thought process is there. I could see, you know, if Camille was left up or something like that, or you're trying to do some weird thing like that where you're trying to ban out the counter, but Camille had already been taken off the table. And generally speaking, we've seen a lot more of things like Maokai in the top lane than a Poppy.
I mean, Looper has been playing pretty odd set of champions in the top lane. He's played Swain more than once now.
Yeah.
Seems to be a little more comfortable on not quite the tanks. Lolo is going to take Jace here. Seen him mid today already, but it's been a strong top laner on the 7.2 patch. So Looper's going to look over there and see, okay, that's likely my top lane opponent. I'll be curious to see how Echo Fox respond.
I like the fact that it can be flexed, though. We only saw it flexed for the first time today in the NALCS, but it worked out pretty well. In LCK, it's flexed actually quite a bit, and I think that is some untapped power that we have not really seen from the champion, right? If you can get yourself a really good matchup in the mid lane by flexing this around, I think that teams should be willing to do that, should have the ability to make those moves.
And 7.2 has been all about lethality so far, so Jay's first pick now going to lead to that pretty easy Varus first pick there for Echo Fox. Team's going to trade off some early power picks. We'll see what Acadian has in mind, though, as far as his picks go. Froggen's got a big smile on his face, as I think Acadian's having a bit of fun. And there's the Kazakhs that we kind of expected.
Yeah, I think he's trolling Froggen a little bit. Those were kind of the Froggen specials in relegation, actually. Froggen brought out the Lux, brought out the Vladimir when he was like the hometown hero, you know, getting them the wins. So pretty quick picks back from TL. We talked about comfort picks for Reignover. Olaf, this is his third straight game on it, even though they did lose 2-0 yesterday. He actually looked good on Olaf both games. I think he was a strong point for the team. Jin coming out here for Piglet, pretty standard.
Yep, seems like the next best AD carry, so not going to get pinched there. Maokai now locked in for Looper, so it is going to be Tank versus Jace matchup. We've seen Jace handily win a lot of these matchups and smash in some instances as well. I think Echo Fox is going to look to absorb that as best they can, and no one wants to get picks taken away from them here, so curious to see what happens in phase 2 of bans.
And the question is always, great, you won lane as Jace, now what can you do about it? The Maokai, we know what Maokai can do in team fights. What can you get done on the Jace? Can you get enough of a lead for yourself that you're drawing lots of pressure, that you're taking down turrets, that you're having 1v2s, or allowing your team to get objectives elsewhere? If you can't, if you just have 30-40 CS lead, it doesn't actually matter. The Maokai is happy to play a little bit behind on gold, has much more impact in TP flanks and straight up team fights.
Yeah, certainly does here, as there's a Cassiopeia ban actually from Echo Fox as their first. Team Liquid, we'll see what they're looking to do here with their first ban.
Wouldn't be surprised to see Echo Fox continue to target Golden Glue in the draft here. He really has been the weak point for TL, or at least one of them. I mean, Piglet, a guy who's a world champion, but he's been a pretty weak point for TL here too. That said, a lot of teams are targeting Golden Glue and having quite a bit of success doing it.
Well, Anivia ban from Liquid, so mid lane is trading bans so far. What's Echo Fox's final ban of the draft? So taking their time with this last ban in phase number 2.
Gotta show that respect to Froggen, man, and he has this really unique champion pool. He can also play the meta stuff. The fact that he's drawing bans on things like the Anivia does give them more flexibility in other areas, can open up picks for his teammates and allow them to succeed that way, but it's gonna be Karma taken away, and Matt had been playing Karma a lot lately, so this is really just kind of a targeted ban towards him.
Yeah, and Gate, we've seen, is a very flexible support player in the current meta. Took that Camille, of course, into support. That wowed everybody. Team Liquid, though, 10 seconds left for their final ban. Echo Fox, of course, will get first pick starting in pick phase number 2, so very important that Liquid consider everything. You're going to go with another support ban here in Malzahar. So where do Echo Fox want to go with this next pick?
And that really is the question, and we're going to find out what they want to leave for last. That is kind of what they're considering their highest priority. Traditionally, you would say, oh, of course, it's the mid laner, but there has been a lot of flexibility around support picks that can sometimes give you an edge or are situational depending on what your opponent's full composition is. Things like Taric have really shined as later picks in the draft sometimes, if it's going to fill out pretty well, but it looks like it's going to be Tahm Kench support. I think that works quite well, but it's not like there's a direct counter to something that's already been drafted. Typically you see Tahm Kench against things like, okay, there's a Morgana or there's an Ashe or whatever. They hit their CC, I eat them. It still does work in this case, but it's not as clear of like why they're picking it.
Yeah, just wanting to keep Keith a little safer there perhaps, as Matt has had more of a specific champion pool. We've seen a lot of his Karma recently. Also, his Thresh has been back, so it feels like he wants to be back on more of the lane bully and playmaking champion, so that's what they'll pick here. They're gonna have to finish this bottom lane unless Jace is flexing, so what do Liquid want to show here as far as their completed duo versus the Tahm Kench Pharahs?
Well, and now that you draft the Thresh, you kind of drafted what Tahm Kench wants to do for him, right? So you have picked this champion where if Gate stays back, Keith can kind of get hooked all he wants. He's just going to keep getting eaten up by the Tahm Kench, taken to safety. And one of the weaknesses Echo Fox has had, I mean, Keith has been playing much better lately, but he's still been getting caught out a lot. And this does kind of help to shore up that weakness. It gives him a little bit of a safety blanket.
It does, and excuse me, as Jin was picked, of course, for Liquid. So Cork is actually the final pick. Very safe blind pick mid laner here. We'll see what Echo Fox respond with. Froggen kind of knew this was coming. They could have taken it for themselves, but opting to give their mid lane the counter pick here in a world where mid picks are often really falling down to 5th, 6th, 7th overall pick.
We are still in a world where Rise is available.
Oh, that's
as
all.
last pick. So I guess that's what you do. Yeah. Never before.
Yeah, that's actually insane to me.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I didn't think of it because I assumed in my mind Rise had already been picked or banned, but
yeah,
last pick Rise.
Rise is really, really strong. It's kind of funny because generally teams would draft that super early, but Golden Glue has not really been playing Rise. He's been playing, like Orianna and Cassio and things like that. So Echo Fox is actually kind of just able to leave that till later. Still, that said, I do think that Corki can match up quite well against the Rise as far as champions go. We saw this matchup in the previous match. Bjergsen going up against Huhi. I think they did play that match out, so definitely can go either way. I don't think that is super Rise favored. And both champions actually kind of do similar things as far as, you know, skirmishing power, being able to burst out squishies, being able to roam around the map with the package and that realm warp. So there's a lot of similarities here and kind of parallels to look at.
Yeah, I have to agree. Corky's stock has risen a lot in the first few weeks of the NALCS. Thank you, Hai, for reintroducing that one back into the league. But, I mean, Rise is a pick that so many teams prize very highly. So we mentioned it already, Golden Glue has certainly looked like he's struggled for Team Liquid. I mean, drafting can be tricky in general, especially when the system has changed so much, but you also have to draft your players. And EchoFox being able to take Rise that late is a huge boon for their team.
Yeah, definitely. And I would say another thing kind of nice for TL, though, is that they have Jace for Lorlo, and Lorlo is a guy who has shown the ability to carry, who has shown the ability to get advantages. And some of the criticism TL received yesterday is just kind of always putting Lorlo on these tanks where he's in disadvantageous matchups and stuff. So now he has the good side of a matchup, and we'll see what he's going to be able to get done with that, because this gives Reignover a clear place of power to try to snowball.
And that's always been Reignover's thing with Huni. We'll see if he can do it here with Lorlo as we're out onto the rift for TL versus EchoFox. Game number 1. EchoFox have been on a tear recently. See if they can continue that momentum today.
Well, Fox is looking for the 5-man stack. This is basically 9 times out of 10, nothing happens in situations like this. But the one time that they go in and they try to ward the red buff, you can actually get first blooded. So we'll see if Reignover does go for it. Not willing to go all the way up in there because they haven't spotted anyone else anywhere. Oh god, they're
oh no, Lorlo gonna get locked down. Acadian looking to follow through. Lorlo's gonna flash in, but the exhaust is down. Looper, so we're gonna slap away, and there's first blood.
Well, 9 times out of 10, but they got this is why you do it. This is why you go for those 5-man stacks. Most of the time, nothing happens. The players recall. You really don't lose anything for it. In this case, Lorlo, yeah, let's snowball him. That's going to go great. Now he has no flash. He just gave him first blood, and all it cost them was an exhaust and a little bit of their time.
Yep. So pretty fun stuff there. Acadian once again collecting first blood for his team. His hit rate's still nice and high.
It's actually comical at this point. Like, no matter what happens, he just somehow manages to get first blood.
It's the mark of a good player. Knows how to secure a kill or two. As Acadian.
Save those abilities. That's the key.
Exactly. Let your team get them low, get them in the queue. Kha'Zix mechanics.
It's also going to feel real bad for Lorlo right now, because guess what Maokai's good at? Gank assist. And now he's going to be going up against a first blood Kha'Zix, and he's flashless on the Jace. That's a very easy target for the Kha'Zix, who's also starting bot side, could end his path top and look for an easy kill, try to snowball this against Lorlo. But Looper needs to keep his health up there. You can't afford to get chunked out too much, or those ganks can kind of turn awry.
Kind of a funny trade to watch. This bottom lane, Matt gets a play in onto Keith. Remember that Looper did start W level 1 to secure that kill onto Lorlo, so funny to see him boldly going in.
Colossus procs it, not too bad.
Slaps him as Piglet. We're going to get that 4 shot off. You can see the EchoFox fans rallying behind their team. Though, again, we talk about the momentum. It feels like the fan base also feels the same way, at least for now.
EchoFox just feels like they're building steam as a brand and as a team. They are kind of this team that has had this grassroots fan base that has been building, and people who have been fans of them because, you know, of guys like Rick Fox and how they're doing things, how they're working it out in esports so far. And as this team starts to get wins, that's only going to grow and grow.
Well, Keith and Gate getting pushed back in there, but nothing too crazy. Arcadian will recall after red buff. TL did have that ward down from the level 1, so got the information at least. So Lorlo, even without his flash for still half its cooldown, he's able to keep safe. And maybe Reignover, looking to get something done here on the top side, is here right now, going to cover this Scuttle Crab first. Get some extra vision in that river.
Now, one of the strengths of the Olaf is that early power clear. You let yourself stay low on health. You can clear so fast because of that. Because of your passive, when you're low on HP, you attack faster, able to deal more damage, clear out those camps very quickly. And now he's level 4, has double buffs, and can kind of look to find a gank. And this is something that Reignover is so good at, is finding these creative ganking paths coming from angles that people don't necessarily expect.
Well, good stuff there, but we did manage to catch up with Jat, who was stage side after the draft with David Lim.
Thanks, Pastry. As you mentioned, I did just talk to David Lim, Team Liquid's coach, and I asked him what it was like to start the season so rough. He definitely expected a better start, but mentioned how they've been struggling to match their playstyles, and they had a big meeting yesterday, a mandatory meeting where everyone was very honest in how to move forward. And they eventually decided they needed to react less to the other team and do their game. So you got to see that a little bit in this draft with prioritizing the Jace pick because they want to play around Lorlo. Not the greatest start, though, while giving up first blood, and it's going to be an uphill battle for Team Liquid.
It certainly will, and even with that gank, things moving more in the favor of Echo Fox. So even though Reignover got behind them, that's 2 summoners blown from Matt, and only the flash of Gate, as well as Ghost off Reignover, and they get really nothing from it. You know, Piglet was already chunked low, they were down on levels, the gank felt a little bit forced.
Yeah, I have to agree though that Team Liquid trying to play their style does make sense to me, so we'll see if that trend continues here. This draft certainly reflects that. You have Arcadian kind of waiting in the brush, hoping that Lolo gets greedy without his flash, but might be sticking around a little too long for this gank.
The thing is, though, it's pushing against Looper, so the minions will come out. Lolo either has to give up a freeze or move forward, and they're likely going to get the gank.
Yeah, looking for it here. Arcadian with the red buff, going in for a Q, knocks him back. Lolo in so much trouble, and Arcadian wants it again. He's going to get a second.
There's almost no way to avoid that. Basically, the only thing Lolo could have done was play with a massive amount of Sprect, wait for Reignover to come up there, and then 2-man try to push that lane in. And that's really the only way he would have been able to avoid that gank, because otherwise, Looper can simply freeze the wave against him. He'll fall too far behind that way. So Lolo definitely off to a bad start, and Arcadian 2 on the Kazakhs. Oof, that's scary.
Simple stuff, but smart stuff certainly for Arcadian, as his patience is rewarded. See, Froggen has gone back, got his early tier, and has been pushing in pretty aggressively versus Golden Glue's Corki. He went back as well. Has some early Fade components by the looks of things, but Froggen, if he can get things going just like this, Golden Glue eating the bad end of that trade.
And for Froggen, all he needs to do is keep the Corki in lane right now, because his side lanes are doing well. You can see all the potions are off Piglet. You know, they have the HP advantage in the bot lane. They're winning in top lane. So things are going good. They just need to kind of track your opponents at that point. If your teammates are already doing well, you don't have to be the superstar.
Well, Froggen going to recall again and probably continue to build up those mana items. We'll check in once he does get back to the shop. Meanwhile, in bottom lane, looking pretty even as far as that CS goes. Piglet and Matt certainly looking to play aggressively with a lane like this. Gates, Tahm Kench will deny a lot of that all-in potential that you mentioned in the draft. But maybe if Reignover comes again, or maybe if Arcadian comes down, we could see the scales tip there as well.
Yeah, remember, Matt is flashless, and obviously the big ticket target would be Piglet, but if Matt moves too far forward, you're happy to take a kill on a support like that. And this is going to be key. If they actually try to do this dive, this pretty much must work or they are screwed. It's 2 level 6s, just got level 6 on Looper. We'll see how he plays.
Looper can read it, pops the ulti up, the Reignover's here, dodges one, Lolo in tower, that's really bad news. Flashes out of the way, but Looper flashes to save himself, and Reignover now taking Karate is dead.
Disaster.
That is complete disaster. Golden Glue's down here, but Froggen's here as well.
Oh god, they're all dead.
Arcadian's going to ride in as well. Surprise, there's the Kazakhs. No, he's not needed. Lolo, though, is going to go down, and Arcadian trying to track the final kill. Doesn't go for it, but Fox, that just looks so simple.
That is just a disaster. And I mean, Reignover and Lorlo, they are essentially making the call that we're so far behind, this must happen. We need to get all this CS to be denied to the turret. Get a kill here. They were both level 6. They were moving up on a level 5 Looper. He hit level 6 right before that gank came through. The ultimate gave him what he needed to survive, and he played that so well. You know, going aggressively onto Lorlo, but really, the turret probably should have been on Reignover from the start. I don't think it was a proper dive, and here it is once again. So as you can see, the level up does come in right there. That's the minion before they do it. Looper goes right onto Lorlo, forcing Lorlo out. With that, then he flashes away from Lorlo so he cannot contribute, dodges an axe there from Reignover. Reignover goes down, and this is just terrible for TL, as they are so far behind at this point.
See, Arcadian couldn't quite ride the portal all the way in, but Froggen follows Golden Glue with the roam. Bryce is very mobile when it comes to getting into lanes once he's roamed up there. And Corki is as well, but he needs the package to get that done and didn't have it there. So that went completely pear-shaped for TL.
And I mean, Froggen had lane pressure. He had the advantage. You talked about it earlier, Pastry. He's shoving Golden Glue in, and having the lane advantage there allowed him to get to the top side, allowed him to make that roam. And, you know, speaking of split push for Lorlo, well, you have to be quite a bit ahead of your opponent to actually be able to really bully the Maokai. And at this point, I don't really know that he's ever going to get there.
Yeah, we always talk about kind of tanks outrunning carries for a good portion of the game. Looper's off to a good start. That's usually a bad sign when the tank is already much tankier than you anticipate early on. I like this proactive move, however, from TL. Looking to steal away the blue buff from Froggen, who is on a recall timing. So that's a nice takeaway. Little victories do matter in situations when you are behind, but 4 kills up for Echo Fox. They've been aggressive since the season started, and looking to slow down anytime soon as Arcadian's going to take the buff back as well.
They're trying to get more here, though, as they know Arcadian is topside. They're going to look for the dive here.
Keith in trouble. Gate's going to try and eat him up. They can't see the rest of them, and now they have to bail. Keith is going to get eaten up by Gate. He flashes out to safety. Hook's going to go wide. Ginotti's going to get absorbed on a Tom Kedge, and Gate, he's having a laugh about it.
Gate played that so well. They were trying to bait out the Devour from him offensively or make him use it earlier defensively.
Gate, no, the Q doesn't land. Golden couldn't get an auto attack range. Gate
was looking for the axe.
Gets the heal off as well, but he wants to keep going. Gonna miss that skill shot. Gate, though, looking to go down as man. Finds the hook in, but Froggen's here as well. There's one. Golden Glue finds the missile for another, but Froggen is looking to play Janitor. Exhaust down in onto him. He's gonna keep moving. Realm Warp to try and make a little bit of space, but he's snared up as Froggen is gonna get him. Piglet manages to take him out.
Gate and Keith, you played that so well. You get out, and then they stay around for the taunt spam. End up going both of them down, giving up a turret and their mid laner's life. I mean, that's karma, if anything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what happens when you get cocky. But seriously, this started off so well for Fox. You know, Gate was so smart to hold onto his Devour for such a long time. He waits till all 4 members are there to basically deny the most possible damage. Now all 4 are there. He eats him up. He jumps back with the flash, and this is perfect. All they need to do is back off, but they're hanging around. You know, there's still 4 members here. You're still in a position where you can easily get redove, and they just do not respect that. They end up giving up 3 kills and a turret in the long exchange, and that is pretty unacceptable play, honestly, from the Echo Fox bot lane.
Well, you can see Froggen sweeps in, but he's just a little too late on the roam, and TL were able to just have exhaust and clean up the rest of the fight from here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Froggen, he wants it. He sees those little health bars, but the exhaust being available completely shuts him down there, and Echo Fox still ahead, but honestly, this game should have been a piece of cake with the kind of start that they had it, and now it's anyone's game.
And we talked about Echo Fox's aggression. You can see it there in their average goal differences. This is a team that really snowballs things particularly early. They're going to get a Mountain Drake for their trouble as well. So still up 1,000 gold. It could have been a bigger lead given how things started. But TL will be happy to get a reprieve and get some gold back into their pockets. And Echo Fox, okay, need to reset a bit, calm down. They've got the Drake. They're still ahead. Just don't fall too far behind on the next Team Liquid play.
Yeah, certainly shouldn't have let that happen. But it's not the end of the world. You're still in an advantage, and you know you obviously would prefer to be 1K gold up here in this situation. Now looking for Froggen.
Oh, good snipe, Froggen. Looks like he's dead at this point. Gate can't hit him in time, and Golden Glue gets himself a second kill, actually.
Yeah, Gate not able to get there quite in time. Wonder if he could have used the Abyssal Voyage to actually get in there a little bit faster. I'm not sure how the timing of that would have worked out, but might have been worth a try. Another kill on Froggen, though, and Golden Glue now has been given a good start off of the kills at bot lane. Now this kill here, 202, he's up in CS. So Golden Glue has the opportunity to really prove himself here, to show that he can take over a game when he's given this sort of an advantage, and it was kind of gifted to him.
I feel like we've seen Golden Glue definitely perform better out of lane. The laning has not been a strong point, but I remember his Echo with the teleport, his roams are on point. When Team Liquid were getting him out of that lane and able to make plays in other places, that seemed to be where he could shine. He's now 2-0-2. He's just finished a very early Trinity Force, and he's got 100% kill participation. Like you said, if Golden Glue can't shine in this game, that's a real big worry, but he's really set up here.
It certainly is, because getting that pre-12-minute Triforce is just ridiculous. And you know, with the exhaust up, there's really no one on the map he can't duel. You know, even Kha'Zix jumping in, if you get exhausted by that Corki can just man up and fight you. You can just stand right there and fight back, and that's one of the really surprising things about Corki with the exhaust, because you kind of expect AD carries to have to be having to kite and run away. But when you pop that exhaust, you have such an insane combat advantage, plus the burst coming out from your ultimate and from those Sheen procs. It's pretty tough to deal with.
Well, you can see Piglet is waiting on Kate's arrow. They've actually swapped both duo lanes to the mid lane now, given that Fox has no bottom outer turret to contend with. So Froggen is going down to that side lane. Golden Glue's going to join him, and they'll kind of farm up there. Froggen obviously has a less safe time farming, because there is no turret for him to kind of run back to, at least that's super close by. But Echo Fox, again, keeping together and making sure they continue to float advantages in the lanes where they have them. Top lane still looking good. They should scale nicely into the mid game, although Golden Glue getting out of his lane and roaming around, particularly when he goes back to grab the package, is probably the next thing that says to TL, okay, this is our next time to make a play.
Yeah, definitely. I think what we have to really track here is who can make the most of the advantages that they've been given, right? Looper, 2-0-2, Acadian 2-0. That's where all the kind of success has been focused for Echo Fox, is on the top side. What can these players get done compared to Golden Glue, who has such an advantage now in the mid lane? Who's going to be more effective in these fights? And obviously for Looper, he's not going to be just one-shotting people like the Corki can, but he can have incredible effectiveness simply through being so tanky, not being able to be pushed out of the fights, and looking for effective TP flanks.
See if he can lock down the carries, particularly the Corki. He's off to that good start. Froggen gets himself a blue buff as Keith and Gate continue playing wave clear games here in the mid lane. Lolo starting up blue for himself. Will maybe just take this one. Should help him in lane relatively nicely as he is still looking to build up to that first major item. You can see TL kind of weaving back and forth, trying to find a pick. They've got plenty of wards kind of on the right-hand side of that lane. But Arcadian's also waiting in back here, and Keith gonna get eaten up again.
We're coming in.
We're looking for something here as Golden Glue firing back away. Matt got chunk low already, but Arcadian wants Golden Glue. Gets exhausted, and Golden Glue's gonna go for that 1v1. Looper diving into the backline. 1v3 though, and takes out Matt. But Piglet firing out with the ulti. Gates tanking as much as he can, pops a shield, and really nice pick off from Echo Fox as Froggen. He just wants a little bit more. That's gonna force Piglet's flash. Rainover backs off there as well.
Well played fight there from Echo Fox. A good roam down from Looper. So he actually maintains TP advantage and is first to the fight because of his map movement, because he had his opponent shoved in. So that's big, because they can look for a TP flank again to start up a fight. But you saw how effective the Maokai can be going in 1v3, zoning them out, giving his team time to kill off Matt. And here it is once more. Looper much faster to the play, moving in here. Matt whiffs on that hook, and they decide to go for him. And Acadian, we talked about that 1v1 between Kha'Zix and the Corki. Golden Glue just goes face up and starts fighting him back with that exhaust down. But look at Looper in the background. They cannot touch this guy. And that buys them the time to get the kill onto Matt. And then TL has to back off. I mean, there's already no HP really left on the Corki. Piglet has to flash out here. He was not going to get that kill. Positioned too aggressively.
Yeah, Froggen ramping up nicely. Rotovatus is done. He's got a Negatron cloak now and is stacking up the tier. Plus he's got cooldown boots, so things looking good for him. Managed to realm warp his way from the side lane to join the fight in mid. Infernal Drake is our next big ticket objective, up in 1:05.
Oh, they're looking to maybe get a pick here. There's both Golden Glue and Acadian down on the side. But there is a package on Corki, and he's very safe right now.
Going in for Froggen. Froggen going to snare him up.
Here.
He's going to keep fighting. Rainover is going to force the flash out of Froggen. Arcadian wants it, but decides maybe it's a little too much. And now Gates going to join in with the Abyssal Void. Is brought Keith with him. Ulti up, and Barris is going to find Rainover, who doesn't have an ulti, and that's an easy kill for Kha'Zix.
Beautiful rotation from Gate and Keith there. The bot lane using the Abyssal Voyage. We talked about it earlier. Great stuff from them as they make that play happen, turning around on Rainover, now looking for the Realm Warp.
Yeah, Golden Glue is like, I don't really like this. The rest of Echo Fox pop out.
Get his flash. Great trade.
And they're going to get a summoner and stop the push in mid, so things looking good there. Piglet again firing off a couple of shots.
Oh,
Good
Keith.
poke. As now Keith has to flash behind Froggen. Looper needs to get in front though. Able to get there, gets himself hooked. Fox is no bueno. Gate able to eat him up. It's Froggen.
Oh.
Echo Fox, I will say one thing. Counting's been a little off today.
Oh, God, no!
And very off there. It's
Two
Piglet
tanks there, come
Keith.
on! Somebody!
Poor Keith. Just magnetized the skill shots to his forehead. Managed to get himself picked up and give TL the Infernal Drake. We talk about Keith kind of being standing in the wrong place, being
man,
maybe the biggest criticism.
I'm giving Keith a pass on that one.
All right.
There's a Maokai and a Tahm Kench standing directly beside him. No one's blocking his recall. Still, was a greedy recall and will mean the Infernal is going over to TL. A little bit sloppy stuff there from Echo Fox, no matter whose fault it is.
Well, costing the Drake. It's still up 2,000 gold, but that would have been a huge boon to snowball through that mid game. Instead, they'll give it over to TL. They've got their Mountain Drake, so they can't feel too unhappy. And the next Drake is an Infernal as well, I believe. So teams can look to contest for that. So Rainover just farming up his Krugs here in the bottom side. Matt's going to rejoin Rainover, I guess. Wants a Krug. Is like, yep, give me that 10 gold. I got an item purchase.
You know who likes double Infernal? A team with 380 carries, essentially.
Seems pretty good.
Seems pretty good to get it for your Jace, your Corki, and that Jhin. So definitely something that they're really going to want. And Echo Fox is going to need to take that away. You can't afford to give up double Infernal Dragon advantage. Even if you're up some in gold, the amount of combat power that gives a team composition like this is insane. And that just keeps on scaling with your items. So all the way to 6 items, Infernal just gets better.
Well, next one's an Ocean we've been had. But the first one is certainly good, and if they can get another one, that will look fine as well. Golden Glue still splitting his way in the top side. Just going to shove these minions down. Level 11 looking nice and powerful as Rainover pops his way back into his own jungle. Trying to get some efficiency on the pathing. And Golden Glue's going to leave. It's actually Echo Fox are collapsing. They've been spotted, but here's the Realm Warp. That's a long one. Trying to cut him off with the Abyssal Voyage as well. Arcadian going to start it all off. Big damage there as the Exhaust is going to get put onto him. Snipe's looking good. Golden Glue does get licked by Gate. And there's the kill for Tahm Kench.
Great Realm Warp and really clever play there from Acadian. Instead of jumping in on his opponent, he uses the ultimate, sneaks in, gets his damage out, then hops to safety, and doesn't greedily go back in for the kill. Lets his teammates finish it off, stays alive. They will get the turret here too. And with Acadian having that Ghost Blade, it gives you extra mobility to kind of maneuver around in that ultimate and sneak up on people like that. I really want to see if he's going to go to a Dust Blade and go full lethality, full out Kha'Zix's damage, because that is pretty fearsome now.
Yeah, we've talked so much about lethality and the changes to 80 carry and top laners like Jays. We've seen Graves today already from McSmithy trying to abuse the power of that mechanic as well. But Kha'Zix's a champion that was already played but didn't go these types of builds. So kind of cool to see the change. I also watch this play again.
Yeah, so clever and patient play here from Acadian. That's what I'm talking about. He goes in, gets the damage, saves his jump, and gets the exhaust out while essentially securing a kill for his teammates there. So I think that was really cleverly played by Acadian. Far too many people probably would have just hopped on in there, and maybe they live, maybe they don't, but it would have at least cost them a summoner or perhaps their life.
I would have hopped on in there and died instantly.
So would I.
Smart play from Acadian. As still looking to push things down. Both mid outer turrets actually still standing, so kind of going to have a battle for these. You can see TL's turret still pretty healthy at about 60%, but it's kind of funny to see the duo laners sticking there for as long as possible. Trying to do what damage they can. Froggen, in the meantime, happy to operate in the side. I've seen a lot of this, I think, mid-game rotation from a lot of teams. Bottom tower is usually the one that ends up going down quickly because of how much aggression and attention's being put down there. And we even saw sideline Cassiopeia from P1 yesterday. So mages are really getting their farm in that mid-game from the side segment of the map. And I think both Corki and Ryze and their map mobility does help if that's the kind of thing you're doing.
Yeah, I certainly think it can work, and it can be pretty safe even on some of those other champions as long as you have the ward coverage, right? You can't just have your Cassiopeia kind of wandering down a side lane if you don't know where the rest of the team is, if you're not protecting her with those wards, but as long as you know where the teammates are, you can be safe to push on whatever.
Keith needs to watch out. Low looking for the poke,
but they're going to turn this.
Just going to get the damage in. Golden Glue over the top. Little too far.
Oh, he canceled.
Now Lupa did cancel that TP. Now going to actually walk over and join his team. Echo Fox maybe looking to restart the fight at a more advantageous time.
Yeah, Looper has flash and is around the side. He could look for it. I think he wants it. Golden Glue? Nope.
No, Golden Glue's okay. Lance in there from Matt. Going to keep him safe. Now it's 10 people in the mid lane. The outer turret's potentially threatened here, but I think we'll just have some wave clear and everyone's going to back off to the lane assignments. Unless Froggen's got something really sneaky planned. But instead, it's Froggen. He's going for the side lane.
Yeah, he's just going to shove in the side wave, make someone come over here and respond. Because bot lane is pushing already for Echo Fox, so they want to maintain control of these side waves. Force someone eventually to go down to the bot side, now forcing someone to come up to the top side, continue the siege in mid lane, but have pressure mounting on the sides.
And they do have, between the Time Catcher and the Ryze ulti, pretty staggering amount of team mobility. Echo Fox have been using it well. Keith eats that skill shot all by himself. The gates there just to make sure nothing bad happens, and TL knowing that's going to wait on the Jhin ulti for now. And Edge of Night Ghostblade already done for Piglet is a good sign. He's had a much better landing phase. He's been the recipient of a lot of kills towards the early mid-game, and lethality, 80 carries are pretty strong. We'll see if Piglet can finally have a big carry performance under his belt on something more meta. He had the big Twitch game, but he hasn't had a big standard 80 carry game yet.
No, he certainly hasn't. He is also in a pretty good spot to go off this game. You definitely can be incredibly strong with these lethality builds. Your ultimates do massive amount of damage, and that 4-shot crit is pretty insane on anyone who is a squishy. Look to see Piglet go into the Duskblade. Wouldn't be surprised to see that eventually for Keith as well. Both these 80 carries are probably going to have pretty standard, similar builds. It's something that can be pretty frightening.
I think you were also correct about Acadian going a similar route there. He's got another serrated Dirk, so yeah. I'm pretty excited to see Duskblade Kha'Zix potentially. They tend to go, you know, a little tankier on a Hex Drinker, maybe Tiamat if you want a bit of extra damage, but this is significantly further on the aggressive spectrum, which I think does suit a player like Acadian.
I really think it does, especially you can play it more measured, right? If you are kind of more tanky build, if you're like the Black Cleaver, Hex Drinker, that kind of stuff, you can jump into fights more aggressively. This, you have to play it more measured, but when you find that correct pick, that right assassination, you can legit insta-kill someone, like almost no reaction possible. It's pretty ridiculous if you do go for the Duskblade. He could be going Edge of Night here too, which does have a little bit of that defensive component. You hop in, it allows you the chance to actually, you know, absorb a hook or something.
Surprise! Matt though locked down, and that's a nice Varus ulti from Keith. He's been on the money so far, and Gate's gonna ride them in. TL busy getting Ocean Drake, means they get someone picked up, but not the worst trade to make. Is Team Liquid happy to take their second objective there. Realm Warp though is going to find somebody. Rainbow forced to get out of the way. Keith still firing away as Golden Glue does get good damage on, but getting that Canadian
flash.
Blast cone the way over. Looper claps his hands together and Lawler snaps Keith. Lawler though going to go down on the other end as Golden Glue's trying to kite back away. Echo Fox's tank's looking good. Acadian's going to melt him down as Froggen collects the next kill.
get a couple kills there, and this means they're going to get the turret here too. So it's a trade of a kill for a dragon, but it's what they get in the extended trade that matters most here, because they're a member down, they're too close, they're getting caught out, and these global and semi-global ultimates are working so well for Echo Fox. Use of the Realm Warp, use of the Abyssal Voyage has been on point for Echo Fox. They get a pick in the mid lane with one, they get the kills and the turret in the bot lane with the second. So great stuff from them.
I like this trade though from TL. They're going to take the mid outer, which is always a critical turret to get. So TL, again, knowing that can't do anything else in the bottom lane, will trade a turret there. But Echo Fox likely now going to move back down, expecting TL to be on the recall timers, and then shove that mid lane back out. So assuming that all happens, Echo Fox should find a turret lead somewhere, open up the map, and kind of ride 3,000-4,000 gold or so in the lead.
Yeah, exactly. And here is this move once again. The Abyssal Voyage coming in from Tom Ken, set up beautifully here by Keith. No chance to get out. And then they use this Tart 2 of the rotation down here with the Realm Warp. It's like playing a mini TF. Froggen's great on that. Now he's on the Realm Warp. It's like your ultimate for the whole team. So in they come. Looper is so tanky at this point that there's really no fear here. He's able to just flash over the wall, tank up that turret, as well as the members of the opposing team for so long. And they finish off the dive, kill Golden Glue. And while it is pretty standard that TL eventually did get the mid lane turret, they trade something back. You know, the TL we saw yesterday was looking pretty hopeless. At least they are making these moves. At least they are making the trades back to try to stay relevant.
Yeah, although it's out coming out. Matt caught again as he's maybe looking to go down, who flash out to safety, but Echo Fox going to get the mid lane turret we expected. Piglet's ultimate going to lay into Looper as he just heals up a whole host there. Bolo trying to chunk out as well. Looper going to get poked and snared out by the Jin W, but TL, they can't really commit to a fight 5v5 when Looper just taking every bit of punishment.
I mean, look at all the damage that Looper doesn't take there, right? Like, he got hit by just about everything. He's chilling, he's fine. You know, they still have Gate as that safety net for him if he really gets in trouble. Just eat up the Maokai, throw him behind you. I mean, this guy's already on 3 armor items. He has his Frozen Heart fully completed. He has that Sunpower Cape as well as the Tabbies. And it's great. You have these sweet lethality builds. Lethality does not work well against armor stackers. It works well against people who have low flat armor, like the AD carry, like Froggen, things like that. But against Looper on the Maokai, you want percentage armor pen. You need your Last Whispers, your Black Cleavers, things like that to deal with him, which is what Laurel has built up. But for Piglet, I mean, Jin already struggles killing tanks. Now it's just like impossible.
Yeah, it feels like Golden and Piglet going to have a rough time trying to kill Looper, who's continuing to stay pesky on the side waves, collect experience for himself, get a bit more farm and tank up further and further. Echo Fox done a nice job navigating this mid game here, and they are out to a nice lead of now 4,000 gold. Map's nice and open. We'll see if TL can kind of find their way back in and leverage control back over the map more than anything else. And we were right. Eventually there was going to be a double Infernal. It's just going to be the last one to come up in about 4 minutes or so. So that should be the next big Drake coming up. I believe it will be the last one that's born before Elder Dragon. Might be one extra because my math is always shocking. But Froggen going to tend to this wave here. And again, continuing to play the side waves. Echo Fox in general, we complimented their macro play. Seems like it hasn't really missed a beat.
No, definitely hasn't. It's also encouraging as an Echo Fox fan to see that Looper is finally getting involved, right? Looper has not really had the kind of games you would expect. With the hype this guy had coming into the season, he has not been the carry. Way more talk has been about Acadian, you know, the NA Challenger rookie, than Looper, the world champion, right? And Looper now is having a good game for himself, is being very effective. Duskblade has been picked up for Acadian there, so some cool interactions with his ultimate. You can get the charges for that true damage on your auto attacks, and it also does make his ganks a lot more safe. That's something people don't really talk about much with Duskblade, but the fact that it gives you kind of that Oracle's Elixir proc where you sweep out wards, you know if you've been detected on the way to a gank, and you can pick off those assassinations quite well. So having that as well as the sweeper is going to help Echo Fox out a lot with the vision control.
Yeah, certainly will. As you can see, Froggen actually went back to base and has now finished and transformed his Seraph's Embrace. So Echo Fox are looking to start a fight here because they know they are exceptionally strong at this stage. We'll have a buff to fight over in a minute.
Oh,
and Keith hooks though, Gate there to save him. Acadian's leaping in towards Lolo as well. That's going to be the Realm Warp. We're going to chase it down. It's just Froggen this time, as Loop is going to force the box out of Matt on the left side of the play. And Baron, of course, the real big objective here, 28.5 minutes in. Golden Glue going to fire poke in. They've got Jace to add to that as well, and Piglet. So Fox have to be very careful starting the Baron when TL can freely poke them off it.
Yeah, they definitely do have to give some respect to that. But just the threat of it means that they can turn for a fight, and that's probably what they're looking to do here. They don't want to rush it down. They're going to go for the fight. Rainover gets got.
They've got Rainover, he actually ultis out. They're going to clear out that control ward now as well. Keith, oh no, that's Skillshot City. Looper's like, no, not again. I'm going to stand right on top of you. And Keith's like, I'm going back to base, friends.
There's the honey fruit there. He could have actually grabbed that up and probably healed up to a respectable amount to stay around. This is even pretty clever, just rotating right back to defend their turret as they had been kind of out-moved. I've really liked Gates' play a lot this season and this game in particular. Even all jokes aside, drafting the Tahm Kench to help out Keith, who has been getting caught a ridiculous amount, you know? Maybe Keith without Tahm Kench, not so hot. Keith with Tahm Kench, maybe he's like Bang, you know? Maybe he's Uzi.
I mean, maybe. Training wheels perhaps for your bot laner. We'll have to see, but it's working out nicely. Realm Warp, though, instantly threatening. Who is it? It's Looper! Oh no, he's in the middle of the fight. Arcadian gonna bide his time and look for the pick. Gate, though, gets him on the flank. Gets assassinated by Arcadian.
That's the Duskblade on that Kha'Zix, does so much damage.
Froggen's in there, Matt snared up, and that's another kill now, chasing for Golden Glue. Another snare's on the way, Froggen is just weaving spells back and forth. Golden Glue can't dodge at all. He's gonna go down to Keith, and Echo Fox start the team fight in a very abrupt manner.
Oh boy, that feels bad as Piglet dies with both summoners up there, but not really much you can blame him for, as he kind of just died instantly. And as for Golden Glue, you know, we checked in last with him when he was 2-0-2. He was up in farm. We're like, oh, okay, you got everything you need to carry, buddy. Hasn't been going so well for him since then. He's died 3 consecutive times, has not really seemed to be able to get involved in the fights in the way you would like him to.
And Infernal Drake did go over to Echo Fox, and that's going to help them do this Baron. As this is very bold double play, looking for Echo Fox. I mean, TL, I think you're right, they can't really get a look in for it, so just smart macro play again from Echo Fox, taking the right objectives, knowing that we can overreach and take 2 safely, and all of a sudden, they're not just out to a big gold lead, they have so much power in these objectives.
Echo Fox just looks so good. Like, they actually just look like one of the best teams in the league these last few games, and here it is again. All the focus on Looper, still doesn't die. Look at this damage. What is that?
That's Kha'Zix.
That's 7.2 lethality, baby. As he goes down in a hurry, and then Echo Fox on the chase down are able to grab another kill there. Eventually the Baron here too after the kill on the Golden Glue. And Echo Fox so proactive, so aggressive. They are playing to their composition strengths. They are using the semi-global ultimates better than I've seen any other team use them, really, with this combination with the Tahm Kench and the Rise. It's been so nice to see.
And I do want to go back to what you were saying earlier about Looper, because I agree, Echo Fox have just been playing better and better together, and it just feels like Looper needed time, you know? He's not a native English speaker, he's a Korean. He's probably learnt like a little bit here and there because he has played in foreign leagues before, but it just takes time to integrate a player into your team, particularly when English is not their first language. So whatever's happening for Echo Fox as far as building the team synergy and chemistry, it's clearly paid off. Not just for Looper, who looks way more on the same page, but for the whole team.
I'm also just having a little laugh watching Keith. You can see his double bodyguard squad, you know?
Yeah, there's one for Froggen as well. Yeah, River makes mistakes. Froggen has the Seraph Stoke. Keith eats another shot blast from Lolo, but could be trouble here. Looper actually going to get shut down. Just took too much damage. Gate's going to try and run his way out of it, but the last bullet's going to hit Keith. Oh no! Keith knows to pop the Ghostblade and run away. Golden Glue's going to flash for him as Keith follow flashes. Arcadian might be able to pick off a straggler here, but they have to be careful. Keith bomb plants away. Now Arcadian's in! Huge play sniping out Golden Glue.
This guy, what can't he do? 7-0-3 on the Kha'Zix. Acadian, game in, game out, has been dominating. It's so impressive to see a rookie with this level of consistency on the stage. It's incredible.
And he talked about it. He doesn't want to come into the LCS scared. He wants to make plays, and he has just been making plays game after game after game. A huge scoreline on the Kha'Zix, still building full damage and lethality, looking for those squishies that TL have plenty of on their side. And that completely stops TL's play in their tracks.
It does. Some signs of life here, though, for Echo Foxes. They do, even with this safety ring, they seem to be kind of struggling to actually have it lined up right. There's not really a reason for Froggen to be getting hooked there. Then the Maokai gets pulled into 5 plus a turret. Even he cannot tank that up. Keith does eventually get out with the summoners here. And as Golden Glue commits, Acadian lurking on the side, waiting for his opportunity. And here it is. As he comes up, boom, everything lands. W before he jumps. So that lands as he comes in with that hop. He has the reset, so he's safe to get out. Really nice stuff. And now, with the Edge of Night completed as well, he's got the trifecta of lethality items. Plus, he has the spell shield, so he can jump in more aggressively without the worry of getting CC.
You can see Froggen and Golden Glue doing battle again in a side lane, but Echo Fox get to places around the map awfully swiftly. Gates Abyssal Voyage, so Golden Glue knows that there's likely more than just Frog in here, so TL will reinforce with Piglet and Matt. Hook does not land. Keith just eats a bit of poke damage instead from Deadly Flourish. And Froggen's going to back away, hit the recall button, and Echo Fox, they do have Baron, of course. Play had to stop a little bit because they got caught for that initial siege, but they're going to have it on their members for a little while longer. We'll see if they can do some additional damage or if it's just kind of a wash as far as the buff goes and they only collect the gold. Because they haven't grown their lead in the last few minutes, and TL have done a good job at least stalling for a little bit.
They have. They have stalled it out, which is nice for them. But the problem is kind of, it's like, normally, if Echo Fox was the one stalling and this much down in gold, you just feel like, well, they got the Maokai, they have the team fight, right? And it's kind of their opponents that are in this really tough situation, their opponents that needed to kind of push the pace. And now TL is going to have to play the team fights exceptionally well. They're going to have to be able to kite it out, play it really nicely. Here is those ultimates.
Surprise Froggen again. Gate actually can't quite lock him down. So he's just going to tank up the W. Lolo is forced to flash though, and Froggen's ultimate not on a super long cooldown with all the CDR he's built up. He's also got a Guardian Angel. And even Paul Rainover can't withstand the damage. It's coming here. Arcading with another snipe finds Piglet. Does hook him out of the air, so the shutdown's going to come for Golden Glue. But they're knocking on this inhibitor turret, and it's going to go down. Rainover might go down with it. Gate is going to eat him up, and that should be another kill. He falls, and Echo Fox lose one, but they're going to trade for 2 plus more.
Yeah, and the Acadian did go down there, but Piglet's already dead. Rainover's dead, and the base is cracked. They're just still going.
Froggen's going crazy. Golden Glue's dead. Gate's able to kill him again, and Froggen's just going to lock down one after the other. This just might be the steamroll forward. The Echo Fox hype train is picking up so much momentum. They might try and close it out.
I mean, they hadn't even killed the inhibitor yet, and they're diving them under the Nexus turrets, and they are going for the win here. And with the res timers, I think they'll get it.
Looks like they might. There's one Nexus turret looking for a second. As who's up? It's only Lolo. 5 seconds till Piglet as Echo Fox are going to move the minions in. I don't know if they can defend it, and Lolo still getting beaten down by Froggen. Nexus left wide open, and Echo Fox are just going to take it down. Froggen with style is going to try and end a few more lives, but Echo Fox will slap the Nexus for a Game 1 win.
How's that for decisive? They get the pick, they get another, they end the game just like that. Crack the base, end on the same push. Echo Fox is just a new squad. And TL, they just look like they can't find the answer.
I mean, it is a struggle. Things are looking a lot better there on multiple fronts, and it does feel like what we heard from their coach, that they do, just need to do their own thing, makes sense. You've got strong players, put them in positions to succeed, but Echo Fox just a step or two ahead as far as overall talent goes, as far as map goes, as far as synergy goes. They've just really had it all. And as they continue to get tested by bigger and better teams, the question has to be, how good are they? Who can they beat? Maybe looking at Cloud9, they'll have a match in probably a few weeks to play them and say, hey, can we beat these guys? Can we contest? Because they just look so good.
Yeah, I think it's really tough to say, but I think Echo Fox actually plays Cloud9 tomorrow.
Hey!
So, hey, you don't have to wait that long, but I mean, it's one of those things where they keep seeming to be up to the test, right? At least so far. It's only been a couple games in a row, but they have looked so good. So many positives to take away from that game for Echo Fox. For TL, I think you kind of have to just reset, and whether or not it was the fault of the level 1, I think you just want to blame that game on the level 1 just for mental health there and just say, hey, you know what? We got a little bit unlucky. Lolo died level 1. He got re-ganked because he had no flash off of the level 1. So just kind of say, you know what? It's a throwaway game. Bad start. Let's get him next time.
And I think mental health that you described is actually very important here. Morale is hugely important in a game like League of Legends. We know Hai is such a strong player because of the leadership that he brings to the team, in addition to a bunch of other talents. Echo Fox, that was their problem last time.
Definitely was, but Piglet, Golden Glue, both were in positions to succeed. Couldn't pull it off this game. Time to change something up.
Certainly looks like it. A lot to break down for Game 1, so we are going to throw it down to the analysts to get their thoughts.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. We are here to talk about that matchup. Liquid versus Echo Fox, and honestly, I'm a little surprised by
disappointed.
Yeah, you're right. Disappointed. Sorry.
Hey man, the favorites won. Echo
favorites
Fox,
did win.
the favorites.
They did. You gotta give them that.
You got to give Echo Fox some credit, absolutely. I mean, I think they played a generally solid game. I thought Gate was super solid in the Tom Kench. That's solid. But I want to talk about Liquid because I just feel like it's the elephant in the room, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
They had a plan.
Really sad game.
I got to talk to their coach right after the game. We said this in the side stage as well. They wanted to play around Jace, so they banned the Poppy and first pick Jace.
Great.
And 5 minutes into the game, that was a flaming disaster.
I mean, it starts with that level 1 play where they throw the Olaf axe into the brush, and then Jace still gets picked off and dies. And then without his flash, they repeat gank it. Good job by Acadian, kind of exploiting that. But at the same time, Rainover is just kind of all over the place as well and not actually able to get anything done and just burning his own team summoners, basically.
Yeah, and we have kind of a highlight package. So this is like, Lorlo shouldn't be that close, right? You wait for the axe to give you vision, but he face checks anyway, and of course he dies. The only summoner used, by the way, is an exhaust, and he uses flash for it, and then it's like, all right, Rainover's gonna gank some more.
This gank was worse, though, just because of the offensive summoner spells that were burned for like pretty little effect.
Right, see, Matt misses the play, then he flashes in, they blow the exhaust, miss the Jin W. It's just like really badly played on the side of Team Liquid. And it wasn't just the bot side, this top side dive played really bad as well. It's really bad to start with the Jace because he can get interrupted. So his DPS drops when he's getting rooted and knocked up, whereas like an ulted Olaf, the Q knockup doesn't do anything to him, on top of the fact that he needs to get in melee range. So they should play that way slower and really Rainover should start the dive.
Lorlo drops aggro by the time Rainover gets his first bit of damage across. Like, wait 7 seconds and that play looks a bit better, but they try to play around Jace and they give away a double kill. Like, and this is what was happening is it's Liquid, and I commend a lower tier team. Sadly, I have to say this for Liquid, playing aggressively. I think if you just roll over and die against a better team, in the case of Echo Fox, you just look stupid. And at least they're trying, but they're just doing it completely wrong.
Well, and the scary thing is that this is like a consistent problem where when Rainover goes for ganks, they blow more of their own summoners than the opponents. I think twice in the previous 2 series he went top, and Lorlo would like flash Shenton or flash Maokai W, and nothing would happen. Here it happens again in the bot lane, and they want to be aggressive, but their coordination is just so bad.
Yeah, you have to wait for the plays to come to you a little bit, and maybe some of this has to do with them having split calls. We know like every team Piglet has ever been on, it's been a push and pull between whether or not they should be playing around bot lane or playing around some other part of the map. Currently, none of those things are working, so even if they're deciding on one, they're still not able to execute it. So it's... it builds on itself when things aren't working. You end up pushing harder, which causes them to not work. So they just need to try and relax. They know they're good players. They have real strategies. They just got to calm down a little bit.
And you talk about split calls. I mean, we're having split performances as well, where Golden Glue is like hated like the last 5 games he's played in the LCS, but had a really good game this time. He's on the Corki. He started the game like 2-0-2. He had like a nice pressure lead. He was roaming first as well. But by the time he roams top lane, 2 people are dead under the turret, and it's like, but you just let Golden Glue carry. He's ahead now. Like, he and Piglet are like unkilled.
I think it just kind of feels almost like desperation. Like you mentioned, this team has good players. They should be winning. And it feels like they know that. And they're like, God, we just got to get a lead somehow, and then we'll be good. And they just keep messing up their own opportunities. And it's been going on for weeks.
Yeah, it's true. But I also don't want that to overshadow that Echo Fox has sneakily been pretty good.
Really,
almost 3-2 now.
Looper has been super solid. Acadian is going off in pretty much every single game. And I'm kind of wondering how many games they're going to be able to win in a row because they kind of smashed Team Liquid there. Yes, Team Liquid made a bunch of mistakes.
Sure.
But like Acadian was super clean. Froggen's looking good all of a sudden. Looper's been great.
Right. A win is a win. Acadian, I think, continually playing very well. Player of the game for this one. I thought just completely popped off on the Kazakhs, and we can kind of sing his praises for a while. Duskblade's second major item, Warrior Yomu's Duskblade. And I think it was interesting. I know we were talking about it off camera. Duskblade over Edge of Night. You're only really blocking 1 spell ever anyway, so maybe the spell doesn't help you. But also just the passive Raptor buff just lets him keep picking people off all game.
Yeah, I mean, you can debate which of the 2 is better. Both have their upsides. And the bigger point, of course, is just the fact that he did carry really hard. He got the free first blood from Lorlo, but then punished him with another gang, and then continued to make big plays throughout the course of the game.
Yeah, and Acadian has taken his preseason confidence and put it into really effective use. And it's crazy because Echo Fox was one of the most passive, lackadaisical teams possible last split, where even when they had advantages, you just kind of knew they were going to lose because they wouldn't be able to do anything with it. But now, Acadian is being pretty greedy, getting the advantages in his hands, and actually converting it to victories, which for a rookie jungler is very rare. So I want to see how far he can go.
Huge props go to Acadian. So last comment and question I have for you guys is, let's focus right again onto Liquid. Downhill for a while. What do they do to fix things? At least in this series, if not the rest of the season.
I would rather see them go with this game plan again of trying to get playing around Lorlo a little more. I think this game went horribly wrong, but we've seen in the past that trying to play more around bot side also goes wrong, and I think you got to give this another chance. It's going to be a little bit harder on the red side. You can't set up that Jace first pick the way that they did in this series, but it's still, I think it's better to do that.
Yeah, I want to put Matt on range support. And this is a problem earlier on when he's had struggle initiating, but put him on Karma or even Janna or something like that. Let Rainover and Lorlo try and snowball the game. And even though Looper is a great player, the communication still couldn't be there for the rest of the team. Try it again. I actually like that game plan.
Okay, we'll see if that can fix it up. We're going to see if Liquid can even up the scoreboard when we come back, and we're going to see Game 2 after a short break. Don't go anywhere. More League action when we return.
Yep, you don't have time to finish that 1v1.
Go, right now.
Oh, you bet we do.
Oh no, Lola gonna get locked down. Acadian looking to follow through. Lola's gonna flash in, but the exhaust is down. Looper still gonna slap away, and there's first blood.
Clear defensively.
Oh, the Q doesn't land. Golden Glue couldn't get an auto attack range.
Manover's looking for the axe.
Gets the heal off as well, but he wants to keep going. Gonna miss that skill shot. Gate though looking to go down as Matt finds the hook in, but Frog is here as well. There's one. Golden Glue finds the missile for another.
I go.
Okay.
Go Chase first.
Come to me. Yep.
Okay.
I have exhaust for Corky.
Acadian gonna buy this time and look for the pick. Gate though gets him on the gets assassinated. But Fox will slap the next in for a game 1 win.